Max stared at his hand in shock. Countless glowing, tadpole-like things were floating in the air. He quickly hid his hand under the pillow, but instead of disappearing, they began to glow even brighter. Panicking, Max opened his palm and the shining liquid suddenly burst out. Every light in the room flickered once and instantly went out. He had absolutely no idea what was happening to him. Max grabbed some electronic equipment from his house and headed into the forest so he could experiment with this mysterious power. He gave his right hand a slight jerk, and the same glowing liquid appeared once more. The moment it appeared, all the electronic devices lying nearby began to turn on by themselves. At that very moment, deep beneath the city in a secret laboratory, a mysterious glowing object suddenly became active as well. The scientists were stunned. That thing had lain buried for decades, and despite countless attempts, it had never once activated before. But now it had started to bloom all by itself. They immediately put the entire laboratory into lockdown, yet the object still managed to escape from there. The next day, Max went to school as usual, but the power inside him was becoming harder and harder to control. He took his bike and went off in search of somewhere secluded, but in his haste, he crashed into a pickup truck and was thrown a long way. Max groaned in pain, but then he saw who was driving the truck. The pain vanished in an instant. It was Annie, the most beautiful girl at school. Apologizing for hitting him, Annie gave Max a lift and even fixed his bike. Seeing the opportunity, Max started chatting to her, but suddenly he felt that strange itch inside him about to erupt again. He quickly made up an excuse, said goodbye to her, and dashed off towards the forest. Something on the road was following Max, and it could even track his energy waves. He could clearly see the strange waves emanating from his body. For many days, someone had been tracking Max in the same way. While running, Max eventually reached the forest, where he once again tried to control the energy waves. But he failed again because the energy inside his body was continuously increasing and he simply couldn't control it. Frustrated and overwhelmed, Max became extremely angry and screamed at the top of his voice. The moment he screamed, he suddenly collapsed and lost consciousness on the spot. When Max came round, he found himself lying in his own house. This time, he was utterly shocked because before passing out, he had been in the forest. He couldn't understand how he had somehow ended up back at home. After taking off his clothes, Max noticed strange marks on his body that had never been there before. The sight of them terrified him. At that moment, he spotted the robotic gadget in his room, the very same one that had escaped from the lab while fleeing from all the scientists. The moment Max saw the gadget, he became frightened and quickly dashed into another room to hide, but the gadget followed him there as well. Max was absolutely terrified after seeing the robotic device, so he grabbed a baseball bat to defend himself against it. Suddenly, the gadget began to speak to him. It explained that it was a robotic device called Steel, created to protect Max. However, Steel could remember almost nothing apart from this, as its memory had been wiped. The only thing it knew was that its purpose was to protect Max. Steel told Max that it had been following him for several days in order to keep him safe. It had also followed him into the forest, where huge amounts of energy waves had been emanating from Max's body. Before Max lost consciousness, Steel had absorbed all those energy waves into itself. Steel explained that the overload could even have killed Max. Steel then revealed that the energy coming from Max's body was called turbo energy, and only Steel could control it because Steel was in fact an alien, created specifically to stay with Max forever. For that reason, it was absolutely vital for Steel to remain with him at all times. Steel explained that when Max had come near the lab, it sensed Max's energy waves, which was why it activated in the first place. Max and Steel were connected to each other. By now, Max finally understood everything Steel was saying. He realized just how important Steel truly was to him and understood that if Steel stayed with him, he would finally be able to comprehend the energy waves coming from his body and even learn how to use them. After this, Max and Steel both headed towards the forest because Steel wanted to teach him more about those energy waves. But after reaching the forest, they noticed several people from the same lab that Steel had escaped from. They had come there to capture Steel. Max and Steel spotted them and immediately started running away to avoid them. During this escape, Steel suddenly began seeing fragments of its memories. At the same time, Max was also able to see everything because he was completely connected to Steel. Together, they witnessed the terrible accident that happened inside the lab, the very same accident that had claimed Max's father's life. After this, Max began keeping Steel with him at all times. He even carried Steel in his school bag when going to school. There, Sophia approached him and invited him to lunch. But Max refused because Steel was with him and he didn't want Sophia to ever find out about any of this. Because of that, he quickly left. Later, Steel began teaching Max how to control his powers and how to use them properly. Max was finally able to fully control the energy waves emanating from his body, and he was now completely ready to use them. During this training, Steel warned Max that they needed to be fully prepared in every way so they could face their enemies in the future. By this point, Max and Steel had become completely connected to one another. Suddenly, an armor formed around Max's body, a powerful suit created to protect him. Now both of them were completely connected to one another, and because of this, Max could also see all of Steel's memories. During this connection, Max witnessed scenes from the day when several aliens attacked the laboratory where his father had been working. Steel explained to him that those aliens were called Ultralink aliens. They had attacked the laboratory and caused a massive explosion, which ultimately killed Max's father. After this, Steel warned Max that the Ultralink aliens were extremely dangerous beings, capable of taking control of Earth's natural resources and even causing massive natural disasters. Steel explained that the same thing had happened on the day of the accident. While Max's father was working inside the laboratory, the Ultralink aliens attacked the facility and killed him during the destruction. Hearing all of this left Max completely shocked. However, he wanted to learn even more about the Ultralink aliens. Because of this, he decided to visit Miles, who had been his father's close friend. Miles told Max about a special device that had been created to store different kinds of energy. According to him, Max's father had also been trying to store enormous amounts of energy using that device. But due to an overload, a massive explosion occurred inside the laboratory, which caused his father's death. After hearing Miles' explanation, Max became completely confused because Steel had told him one story while Miles was telling him something entirely different. At that very moment, the strange energy waves inside Max's body started emerging once again. Because of this, Max was forced to leave from there. He started running towards his house, but on the way he noticed a massive storm chasing him. In reality, the storm had been created by the same Ultralink aliens who were rapidly approaching to kill him. Max kept running as fast as he could while trying to escape from them. At that moment, Steel connected with Max and transformed him into Max Steel. Instantly, Max turned into a superhero and brutally defeated the Ultralink aliens, forcing them to retreat. After this, Max once again started seeing Steel's visions. During these visions, he discovered that Steel had also been present on the day his father died. Because of this, Max realized that Steel was also an Ultralink alien and could possibly be a danger to him. However, Steel explained that he'd only been working with Max's father on a project that was meant to permanently destroy the Ultralink aliens from Earth. But Max refused to believe anything Steel said because he had already seen everything in those visions. Because of this, he walked away from Steel. As soon as Max reached his house, he noticed the same people who'd been chasing Steel standing there. This terrified Max because he believed they might harm him as well. His mother, Molly, was also inside the house, which made him even more frightened. He didn't want to go inside because he feared those people might capture him in front of his mother and take him away. Because of this, Max called Miles and explained everything to him. Miles told Max that those people worked for a company called N-Tech and they already knew everything about Steel. They had discovered that Max and Steel were connected, which was why they wanted to capture Max as well. During the conversation, Miles also revealed that those same people had kidnapped Max's mother, Molly, and taken her to the lab. After hearing this, Max immediately went to Sophia's house, took her truck, and headed straight for the lab. At the same time, Molly revealed that she was actually the owner of N-Tech. She then sent her people out to look for Max because she had also discovered the truth about everything. Eventually, Max arrived at the lab and made his way to Chamber 1. There, he found that Steel had been imprisoned inside a chamber and put into sleep mode. Suddenly, Max began having visions once again. This time, he saw the day of his father's death more clearly and finally uncovered the truth. Steel was not responsible for his father's death at all. The real culprit was Miles, who had only pretended to be his father's friend. In reality, Miles had been secretly working with the Ultralink aliens because he wanted Max's father dead. Max's father possessed incredible powers and was actually an alien himself. He was constantly trying to stop the Ultralink aliens from coming to Earth and to destroy them once and for all. Because of this, Miles joined forces with the Ultralinks to get rid of him. One day, while Max's father was carrying out an experiment in the lab to destroy the Ultralink aliens, huge amounts of energy were being released from his body. During the experiment, Miles secretly increased the power load to dangerous levels, which caused a massive explosion that ultimately killed Max's father. After witnessing all of this, Max finally understood the whole truth. Not long after, Miles turned up wearing a powerful suit. He had become incredibly strong because he also possessed huge amounts of energy that he had taken from Max's father. Miles started attacking Max and forced him towards the chamber where Steel was being held prisoner. He wanted to kill Max in the same way he had killed his father. As soon as Max entered Steel's chamber, he became connected with Steel once again. Thanks to this connection, his powers finally came under control and he transformed back into the superhero Max Steel. Now far stronger than before, Max completely overpowered Miles. He attacked him mercilessly, and after a fierce battle, Max finally killed Miles. Once everything was over, Molly told Max that she had always known the truth, that his father was an alien. She also knew that Max himself was part alien because he had the same powers as his father. Molly explained that she had kept these truths from Max because she was afraid of what people might do to him if they found out his secret. That was why she kept moving from one city to another with him. However, after Miles called them back, they were forced to return there once more. Molly also admitted that she never knew Miles was actually the real killer of Max's father. Now that everything had finally been resolved, Max went to see Sophia once again, and with that the film came to an end.